on your list here. Number 3 corner. You got Demo and Mooney Ward as the 1 and the 2. You mentioned the Niners played nickel 80% of the snaps last year, 5th most in the NFL. So this third corner is valuable. And let's be honest, Matt, the game's a passing game. So your 4th and 5th corners become very valuable. That's the challenge. The good news here is that this is the deepest group of 49er corners I can remember in camp in a long, long time. What do you think? I mean, will they go with 6? And it sounds like they, unless there's injuries, they may be cutting or trading a corner here because they probably have 8 good ones.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've never seen it this good. I mean, when's the last time they used a first-round pick at cornerback? I think it was Mike Rumpf.
Right.
In that 2002 year. My point being is that they had not spent a lot of capital at that position. But this year they have. I mean, both Deommodore Lenoir and Charvarius Ward are going to be, among the top 10 cornerbacks in the league. And both of them, by the way, are going to be free agents in March. So if they're both top 10ers, I don't think either one of them is coming back. So it behooves the 49ers to have some young guns in the chute. And I think that that's what they're looking at with Darrell Luter on the outside and Renardo Green on the inside for maybe not this season, but certainly for next season. But I think the guy who's going to end up being the third cornerback is Isaac Yiadom, who's looked really good. I mean, just consistently good in these practices. He was right there with Logan Thomas today on that first Brock Purdy interception. I'm not sure whether he caused it, but he was, close coverage. When he does get a ball his way, he's usually there to either pick it off or to bat it away. And then usually he's not being picked on. So, I mean, that's the mark of a great corner. You just don't throw in his direction at all. That was the Jimmy Johnson who just passed this year, Hall of Famer for the 49ers. He was known as the loneliest cornerback because no one ever threw in his direction. So I think that's how it's going to play out this season with Yiadom as the third cornerback, basically in the role that Ambry Thomas was in last year. And then next year, the 49ers need to basically bring Renardo Green in to become, either an outside cornerback or the inside cornerback and go from there.
The second position was linebacker. And this one's really interesting because we expected Fred Warner and Devondre Campbell to be the first 2 linebackers. But when the third linebacker's on the field, I thought it was going to be, probably D. Winters. It's been Curtis Robinson, the former Stanford player, to this point. And if it's not going to be him, it might be Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Oren Burks, you mentioned in the article, left for the Falcons. So what do you think? I mean, to me, the guy that I love is Jalen Graham. And he's made a play today against the run where he just stepped right into the hole at the line of scrimmage. I think it was on Mason, and just went belly to belly with him and just halted his progress. And then, of course, Mason kept running, and it looks like a long run. But Graham is my guy in that linebacker group. I think he's really special. But other people love Winters. What do you think, Maddie? Who's going to be the? It's not going to be Curtis Robinson, is it?
Well, Robinson wasn't in that spot today because Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles was back from his injury. He got injured in the very early in the first practice. And so I think that's why Curtis Robinson has been in there. But I mean, Curtis Robinson, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, I'm not sure you want either of those guys as your number 3 linebacker, because the number 3 linebacker is, there's an injury to 1 and 2. He's your number 2 linebacker. It's an every down position. So I agree with everything you said. I really like Jalen Graham. The issue, quote unquote, issue with Graham is that he's been basically the backup middle linebacker. So he doesn't get as many opportunities at the weak side spot or the strong side spot, the 2 outside linebacker spots, as some of these other guys. And I will say that, D. Winters is exactly what you want. There's so much ground that position has to cover. There's so much pass coverage duty as far as dropping into a space and being in charge of a big chunk of the field. And you have to be fast to do that. And Winters is very fast. He's defensive back, like in terms of his speed. Jalen Graham is not. His time speed isn't that good. He's good at pursuing. Like I said, when he's at middle linebacker, it's a little like Fred Warner, two kind of longer, long-limbed players back there, which creates its own kind of passing obstacles. But that's why they like Winters. He covers a lot of ground. You just mentioned coaches who end up liking players, and those players end up landing on the 49ers. Johnny Holland, the linebackers coach, thought he looked a lot like Dre Greenlaw coming out of TCU, and that's exactly why the 49ers used a 6th-round pick on him.
About Mr. Greenlaw, he was out there watching today. I mean, you can see him. This is a guy. I love Dre Greenlaw, man. I don't wear jerseys, but if I did wear a Niner jersey, I'd probably wear Greenlaw's 57 because I just love his whole approach to the game. I mean, this guy would play for free. He's out there on the sidelines today in the team portion, and you can just see the way he's rooting on his teammates. He's all in. He's emotionally invested. He's mentally invested. He's just an awesome guy. And what do you think, though, Matt? I mean, the guy tore his Achilles. It was February. Give me a real. People are talking about, is he going to miss time? Of course, he's going to miss time. He's gonna miss the whole season, isn't he? I mean, when's the earliest you think Greenlaw realistically could be back?
Well, the 49ers have had good success with Achilles injuries. It's something that their surgeon does really well. Remember Crabtree's injury. Forget whether that happened in May or not, but he was back during that season. And that one happened in the spring. It happened in OTAs. So I think him coming back mid-season is realistic. We were at the Dwight Clark event in San Jose in May, and Dre Greenlaw got an award there, and he came onto the stage, and he was just off of his crutches, and he's getting around like an old man. I mean, he was obviously addled when he walked up there. Now you see him, and you wouldn't know that he's injured. He's moving around. He's kind of messing around with the guys at practice. He looks good. My point is that from May to July, he made a lot of progress. So he's going to make more from July to September. And I think, late October, I think that's realistic for him to come back. I don't know how many games that is, 6, 7, 8. I really thought that he was sort of the bellwether for the defense last year. He was banged up a lot, and it wasn't just the Achilles that he was dealing with at the end of the season. There was a shoulder, there was an ankle, there was this, there was that. There were games where he did not look like himself. And when he didn't look like himself, the defense didn't look like itself. And so I think that that's something the 49ers have to realize, is that making sure that he's not only back 100%, but he's fresh. He sets a tone for this team. So my point is they're not going to rush him back. They want him there in December, January, and February. That's going to be the priority. But I don't think it's unrealistic to think that he'll play half the season.